By recognizing Israel's sovereignty over the occupied Golan Heights, the United States has turned itself into a pariah state, blessing and glorifying the violation of human rights. It's obviously significant that after decades of refusing to recognize sovereignty, Donald Trump has given this massive election boost to Netanyahu by recognizing the sovereignty of the Golan Heights. And what's missing, though, Amy, from the coverage of the whole saga of recognizing the Golan Heights is no one actually is talking about the people of the Golan Heights, what they want and what they seek. And the people of the Syrian people in the Golan Heights have reiterated time and time again that their land is Syrian. It's not a disputed land, it's not a contested land, it's a Syrian land, and they have done everything in their power in order to defy Israel's attempts to Judaize their land. Since 1967, and especially since the annexation 1981, the people of the Golan have risen up several times against Israel's annexation. In 1982, actually in February 1982, they've waged a 5-month general strike and a civil disobedience campaign that would go on to inspire Palestinians during the First Intifada, stressing that they refuse to hold Israeli identification card and that they refuse all attempts to erase their Syrian identity. Again, in 2018, last October, Israel tried to impose municipal elections in the Golan Heights as a gesture of its sovereignty over their territory. And again, Syrians in the occupied Golan Heights took to the streets en masse in order to oppose the holding electoral municipal elections in their lands and stressing that they are Syrian. During these decades, only just 6% of the entire residents of the Golan Heights have applied for Israeli citizenship, meaning that the vast majority of people, the overwhelming majority of Syrians in the Golan Heights, recognize and identify themselves as Syrians. Again, despite Israel's imposition of a curriculum that tries to erase Syrian identity and replace it with an artificial Druze identity. We're talking about 27,000 people living, mainly Syrian, living in the occupied Golan Heights, who have been systematically discriminated against in terms of resources, whose resources have been exploited. We're also talking about 230,000 Syrians who've been displaced in 1967, more than 500,000 Syrian refugees from the Golan Heights who continue to be denied their right of return. We're talking about families that have been fragmented between the Golan Heights and Syria, and we're also talking about Israel's continued exploitation of this resource-rich area and continued attempts to control and monopolize tourism and claim sovereignty over the territory. And Trump's move, recognizing and signing this executive order, gives blessing to these continued violations and erases an entire people off the map. One friend in the Golan Heights had told me that it's bizarre that a person who probably has never heard of the Golan Heights before that gives himself the right, entitles himself to acknowledge Israel's sovereignty over the Golan. It's neither Trump's to recognize this sovereignty, and it's neither Israel's to take. And we've seen this happen in Jerusalem last year when Israel moved its embassy, and except for a few rhetoric and few condemnation here and there, nothing actually happened. No punitive measures have been taken against the U.S. move to move its embassy to Jerusalem and to recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. And if we only get rhetorics, the same will happen. And this is the danger. Obviously, people in the Golan will continue to resist and will continue to protest as they've always done. But this is an extremely dangerous step, and this signals that the United States, again, doesn't give any regard to human rights or to international law or to international humanitarian law.